And welcome to Big Little Lessons. I'm Jenny, joined as always by my co-host and longtime teaching partner, Christine. Together we share stories and insights from our years in the kindergarten classroom, where the smallest learners teach us the biggest lessons.
Hi, Jenny.
Hello.
So our guest today is Dani Fee. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist, an EMT, a certified autism specialist. 10 years ago, Dani came to us as a health coordinator and became a beloved person in the health office where we work. After becoming an EMT, she wanted to be qualified to treat the whole person, which ultimately led her to becoming a therapist. She now works as our school counselor and supports students and their families, as well as teachers from kindergarten through 8th grade. Dani and her husband are having a great time raising their beautiful 3-year-old daughter.
Welcome, Dani.
Oh.
Woohoo! We're so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here and to talk about what we're talking about today.
Yes.
So thank you for having me.
Well, tell us, how is your summer going? You've had a little bit of time off. Are you enjoying your daughter and being a little bit more relaxed at home?
It's been wonderful. It's been a ton of slow mornings and weekend trips, local, but it's just been wonderful. So
Just the way summer's meant to be.
truly.
Love those summer days. Well, good.
So today's topic is one we all experience, but especially in childhood. I love this topic. Big feelings.
Yeah. Oh, is that your phone again?
Phone again.
Well, I'll continue. So whether it's tears over a lost toy or a ringing phone or anxiety about life change, emotions show up big in little people.
Yep, and that's right. And we're so happy to have you, Dani, to help us explore what it looks like supporting emotional development at school and at home. And I want to make a note because the whole word big feelings, I think, is so brilliant. When my kids were little, we would just say you're freaking out or you're having a temper tantrum or you're dysregulated, but I love that parents have put this word big feelings to their child's emotionality. I think it really, really helps.
Yeah, I would agree. And
I think so too. It labels it so well because it encompasses what the child's experiencing, but also gives the parents different language that doesn't feel so intense. And big feelings are intense. So
And it feels like it's something that is expected and quote unquote normal behavior. It's not like, what are you doing having a temper tantrum?
Right.
Having big feelings is you're expressing things and trying to process what's going on.
Yeah, there's
around
not a
you.
negative connotation to it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Exactly. I love it.
Dani, before we get started, it's so interesting to hear about a person's earliest childhood memory from school. Can you think of anything, your earliest memory?
I have two. One is from my preschool days where I'm sure we were given more than just an olive, but my memory is that I was only given an olive for a snack and I refused to eat it. I was a strong-willed child and I was put on timeout for not eating this olive.
One olive.
Well, my memory remembers it as one olive. And I remember just doubling down on my choice and putting the olive on my finger and just playing with it on timeout. So that's my earliest preschool memory. And then when I was in kindergarten, I believe it was Mrs. Henry's class, I remember walking into my first day and going, okay, the goal is to find a friend. And so I scanned the room and I was looking for somebody that probably seemed familiar, that the energy was familiar, just to walk up to them to say, hey, do you want to be friends? So that's what I remember.
I love it.
That's
Just
a great memory.
Really.
And from a kindergarten teacher point of view, that's really the first part about school. People think of the academics, but for us, and I know preschool teachers feel this way, it's really about having connection, building community, which includes that having that friend, that circle of friends. So you were just born to be doing this job. Your earliest memory, I need to make a friend.
I need to make a friend. Where's my support system in my class?
So smart. So as you grew and became an adult and you came to our school and you had your journey as becoming an EMT and then eventually deciding to choose this path into therapy, can you talk a little bit about that background and the way that all unfolded?
Sure. So I always remember caring for children. Even as a child, I remember babysitting, nannying, and I really enjoyed it. Teaching choreography, teaching sign language. So kids were always part of my life. So it absolutely made sense that I ended up at this beautiful school community to be around kids. And then I just kind of started observing what I was hoping to provide them and realizing, oh, I need to go back to school and be qualified to do this because I'm recognizing a need and I can't fill it right now. And that was a little frustrating. So that was the driving factor in just really like going back to school and learning more about psychology and connection and what that looks like specifically in school. And I haven't turned back since. And it was the right path for me.
It so is the right path. And I remember, we've known each other for a little bit of a while. And when you made that decision, I was so thrilled for you because the students loved you and they would love to visit Dani in the health office just because she was there.
Oh yeah. There's always a line going to the health office to see the people in the health office. And of course, Dani was one of the fan favorites.
Oh, thank
you. You took the time to really listen to them and just to enjoy them. And so I too agree that when you told me that you were going back to school, I'm like, of course you are. And you're going to be so hugely successful. And you are.
Thank you so much.
I'm just curious, like thinking about your philosophy or core values when you're supporting emotional well-being, kind of almost like your mission when you're supporting somebody. Do you have some thoughts about that?
Absolutely. So I would say my therapeutic philosophy comes from a lot of different what they call postmodern modalities in therapy. In addition to a couple other modalities I like to integrate. However, I will say that I found kind of my sweet spot of integrating all of those into really leaning into seeing each individual as the expert of their lives. So my job in the supportive role is to help them identify patterns, find meaningful change, and develop insight. And that's kind of how I approach the counseling therapeutic space when they arrive in my office.
I want to share this story for our listeners. And I don't know if you remember, but when I decided to go back and get my master's online, and I ran into, I don't know if it was on a weekend or after school or something was going on. It was before the pandemic. And I was so nervous. And you're like, tell me about this. Tell me. And she was coaching me. And I'm like, you're so good at your job. And I'm like, I'm just online and I don't know how to do the research and everything's done it. And I was a little bit, I had big feelings about starting school in my 50s and going back and doing things that were all digital and technology. And you were just so present with me and you guided me. And I want to thank you for that. So, because you helped me kind of take a breath, first of all, and just demystify how trying something new is a little daunting, but it doesn't need to overwhelm you. So thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I do remember that. And I was so excited for you because you're right. Like new things can be so daunting, but once you start walking through the new experience, you just absorb all of these new things about yourself. And what I like to tell students a lot of times when they're in the office, when they might feel a little reluctant to be in my office and they kind of ask, what's counseling all about? Or what's therapy all about? And I love that question because I give the same answer every time. It's like, oh, well, do you want to learn more about yourself? Because this space is for that. And I feel like that kind of takes the pressure off. Right. And it allows for that exploration of, okay, let's just see what comes up. And it's very collaborative.
I love that.
It's a great answer and it's not threatening at all. And it's supportive and it gives them a reason to actually say, okay, let's do this.
And it's not only important as a student, but just your whole life. You're going to constantly, like what you helped me with. I was in my 50s and I felt like, hey, I know who I am. I'm like, do I? But it's an ongoing journey. And so it's a great question to lead with throughout your whole life because you're going to have seasons of change all the time.
That is so true.
Well, we have some questions about students, and then we're going to kind of break it down. So we're going to ask some questions about your work with students, questions with teachers, colleagues, and as well as with the families, caretakers, because they're kind of unique, and we're all dealing with people who are colleagues and neighbors and family members and children and parents. So anyway, we're gonna break it down that way.
Great.
So what if we start with sort of defining what big feelings are? What are big feelings?
So I really think you guys did a great job of kind of already sharing what they are, but truly it's these feelings that are intense and feel unmanageable.
Excellent.
I think that's a very simple way to describe big feelings.
I've never thought of it about that way, but
unmanageable.
okay, that's a big little lesson I'm learning. It's about unmanageable feelings because you're not sure where to go with it.
Exactly.
Love that. Thank you for that big little lesson.
Sure.
It's a great one.
Okay, so what are some of the emotional needs you see most often in students? I'm sure you see a wide range and in varied levels, right? But what are some kind of the big ones, the emotional needs?
So not only for kids, but I think just in general, if we're talking about like foundational needs, I think as humans, we look for connection, validation, support, and a safe space. What's so fun with working with kids and adolescents is like you can then also look at what developmental stage they're in. So 3 to 6, you're talking about identity building. So, I'm pretending to be a cat. And as an adult, if you join the child in that imagination, that creativity, and they see that you're joining them on that journey, then they grow bold. And they take that into 6 to 11, which is another developmental stage, right? Which is about, I want to matter.
Okay.
So how do I matter? Am I really good at sports? Am I really good at music? And just finding ways to support their identity. And then from 11 to 18, you're looking at who am I? So I think going back to those foundational needs, all of that can apply to all of those stages for children, adolescents, and adults. But what's really cool about those stages is there's that additional like nuance of different needs. So I like to think of them as like sprinkles. So like, although you have like the cupcake, that's your foundation, and the frosting, the sprinkles are just like the little added extra needs they might need in those particular developmental stages.
That makes sense. Yes, because I was going to ask, are these needs different in students than in adults? But there are developmental stages of a child growing up. And so it is different. So sometimes I have seen, and we've all are learning that the adult feelings are not necessarily translated to a student feeling. We tend to put that label because that's how we're feeling, and we kind of assume, but you need to understand the developmental
where
stages.
they are in their developmental stage.
I think as adults too, we have all this language, and sometimes it's easy to forget that they don't have the language. They have the feeling, they just don't have the language.
Yeah.
And so that can be hard to navigate for the adult and the child.
Yes.
Right. Sometimes we try to give them the language and it doesn't match the feeling.
Exactly.
Right? I know I've done that for sure.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell the story of a student?
Yes,
Charlie.
please.
Charlie was a rather grumpy and very bright student, but just didn't really want to participate and just kind of grumpy. And he was saying to his parents that he was bored at school. And I'm like, really? Because he's actually not doing the work that we're all engaged with.
I've had that, Charlie, too.
Yeah.
Several times.
I'm bored. So we came in after school with his mom, and we were talking to him, and he was his arms folded, and he's got his brows furrowed, and he's just grumpy. And he's like, I'm just bored. And I asked, could you explain what does it mean to be bored? It just means I don't get to do what I want to do. And it was such an aha moment for me as a parent, as a teacher, as anyone dealing with somebody. Sometimes you got to understand what they meant. He wasn't bored. He just didn't want to do what I was asking him to do, what the class was doing. And that was just like, I'm so glad I asked that question. Right. So I think what I learned is ask questions. Tell me more.
Such a great example.
And don't assume that you know the answer.
Yeah.
And like,
even though we think we do, we don't.
Sometimes.
That is such a great example, though, because I think it's just a reminder too, like, they have limited language because they're just adding to their word bank right now when our word bank is so expansive. So
Thank you so much for that.
Well, and I think it goes the other way too. Students will be having an experience in school and they'll go home and they'll explain it to their parents and their parents will say, well, you must be feeling this way, for example. And then it's not always matching. So it really doesn't support the student in the right way.
Such a great point.
So I'm curious, to that point, setting up students for success, and we're going to get into how partnering with our parents to convey the language that's being used at home and at school and working together. But I'm curious, because we've talked about routines and how important they are. Can you have some tips for creating emotionally safe spaces, roles of routines, visuals, anything that you find?
In our classrooms, we have like a cozy corner for if somebody in the classroom is having a big feeling and not a manageable big feeling that they just need a break in the cozy corner. So I'm sure you have some great thoughts about that.
I love the cozy corners. What I do think is really important is whatever is authentic to the teacher should be represented in the space. So like if a teacher doesn't necessarily subscribe to a cozy corner, but maybe subscribes to mindfulness activities, then don't have the cozy corner if it's not authentic to who you are. Because as we know, kids understand what is authentic to us. So I always think if it's authentic to the teacher, that transcends into the students. So it's already creating this containment of safe space. So I think that's just something I like to remain cognizant of and talk about with teachers. It's like, what makes sense for you? Like what feels good for you? Let's make that space
So true.
Be an example of that. And then let's add of what helps your kids. And then I think as routines, like our brains love habits. So unfortunately, if we have some negative thought patterns, right, that's a habit that, I hit the mic. So anyway, we're talking about patterns and things like that. So sometimes what I like to offer parents, if your child's brushing their teeth in the morning, maybe that's their moment that they walk through what they want to get out of the day. It's every time you brush your teeth, Charlie, think about what you're looking forward to today. Every time you're eating breakfast, maybe think about one thing you want to tell a friend. So those built-in structures, routines of getting the brain ready for the day, I find really helpful for kids.
I love that idea.
Because then they're now having a plan of what their day, what they hope their day looks like.
Yes.
And that offers a sense of calmness and a sense of control because they have this structure now of what they can expect from the day.
I love that because it's like you're almost just planting a little seed. You're in charge of your day. You get to choose how your day is going to unfold and think about it, visualize it, process it before you actually are there.
And just take a little moment. I used to do that with the boys at nighttime before we went to bed to talk about the next day.
Love that.
Especially with my older son who really needed that structure and the routine. And it was so helpful just to hear what's going to happen tomorrow. Just wanting to know what would be in front of him, right?
I think it takes away some of that anticipatory anxiety that we all have that kind of can creep up.
Without even knowing it.
Exactly.
You're like, why am I struggling to get to sleep? Oh, maybe I haven't, and just the littlest thing can hang you up. I love that idea of helping kids navigate their day and kind of visualize with a routine. Brushing your teeth or having breakfast.
So an emotionally safe space could be any moment in any day, just depending on what feels right.
Exactly. Well said. And I think that can be empowering for the child.
That's amazing.
Another big little lesson.
I know. That's what I was just thinking. All right. So this one, I know how you helped me, but I'm curious, how do you help someone who's feeling overwhelmed?
I get that question a lot, but specifically about panic attacks. What do you do if somebody's having a panic attack? And really,
do you see a lot of panic attacks in children?
They look different, but you can see those feelings, those big feelings start to come up. And sometimes if I don't really know what to say, I love this acronym I got from a brain spotting training, and it's why am I talking?
Why am I talking?
If I don't know what the intent is behind my words when somebody is having big feelings like that can lead to a panic attack, then I'm just going to support and bear witness and let them know they can lean on me by just being in the same space.
So it's not offering any words, it's just being.
Sometimes it's just being. It's just letting the person know, I'm not scared of what you're feeling right now, and I'm right here with you. And that's all they need sometimes. And then once enough time has passed, then you can start kind of working through and processing what came up for that student if they're in the space to do that, right? So it's really dependent on the person. But I do have kids who come in and go, I'm not feeling great right now. Can you distract me? Can we talk about something? And then we can go ahead and talk about something that's, interests them. So the beach or what have you, right? But honestly, the biggest thing is just like being with somebody.
Oh, I'm learning so much from
I'm
you.
learning about that too, because when I think about when two students are in a deep quarrel, often it can get heated and there's no reasoning with either one of them. And it's like, let's take a cool off time. We just need to just pause and let's not talk. Let's just breathe and diffuse the situation before we can actually have a conversation.
There is so much power in the pause.
Power in the pause.
And as adults, we don't need to always have the answers. I think that we feel the pressure that we do.
Don't we all? Gosh,
right?
I want to fix everything, but
right?
I can't.
Like, I should know how to fix this.
And over talking.
And over talking. Exactly. And you know what? We don't have to. And that's not always what they need. And I remind myself all the time in this space. Like, I literally will use that. Wait, why am I talking? And another piece of like a nugget of information I love to give parents, something that they can just check in with themselves really quickly on is this harmful or helpful? Mm-hmm. And if they can't answer that question, I, encourage them to just pause.
Yeah.
Go get a glass of water then and process a little bit further and then make your next move on whatever it feels authentic for that moment.
That as a parent, I'm feeling like that takes such practice, right? It's such a challenging thing to do because I think
so true.
When your child's dysregulated and having big feelings, you also become dysregulated, and you like we said want to fix those feelings, and we're not always able to. So that is so helpful to think about that.
But I'm so glad you're bringing that up because I can sit in this comfy chair all day, regulated, and talk about all the things we should be doing as adults, right? But to your point, we get dysregulated when those things come up as parents, as adults. I mean, it's a lot to hold space for. So yes, I can sit here and say, ask yourself this, or I encourage you to do this. But at the end of the day, however you show up in that moment is also okay.
Yes.
Because what's important is the repair. So if you say something that you're like, oh man, I should have said something else, that's okay. Just follow up with the repair, right?
I like that. I mean, it's true. As teachers in the classroom, there's times and you just realize there's nothing I can say right now. I just have to be with them. But it's a really great reminder of the power in the pause. That's a big little lesson.
And
for
if
me.
you make a mistake, you can fix it.
Yes,
for sure.
Excellent. So Dani, tell us about helping support teachers managing emotional regulation in the classroom. Do you have some tried and true ideas that teachers at all different grade levels can use, or parents can use at home, or heck, colleagues can help with other colleagues at work, just anything that can help?
Yeah. I feel supported by you. I have felt supported by you over these years, but how does that look like? What does that look like to you? What do you think about? What do you think about us?
When I think about you guys, I think of superheroes because the strength it takes to be on every day with 30 plus kids is incredible. I have a one-on-one space that is vastly different than having 30 at once. So I can only imagine when a student is like experiencing big feelings amongst so many other students that it's challenging to hold space for that student while also being cognizant of the impact that has on the 29 others. So to be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out ways that I can continue to support teachers because sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing enough in that. And I know all I can continue to do is offer support. But that changes all the time.
It does change. And I love that point though, because sometimes there's just moments in the day that are going to be a little bit out of control, and you just have to hold it and just say, okay, we're experiencing this kind of almost like a tidal wave, and breathe and move on, and we'll get through this. But there's not always a way to manage every emotion. I mean, to be human, you're going to experience emotions. So
Absolutely.
I think that's really a fair answer, because we're not all going to have it buttoned up. I mean, that's why we have these conversations, is to kind of to talk about it. And
Well, and
kind of
I
think.
feel supported in the classroom just by having your presence, and just by
Yes.
saying, "Can you just be with
here."
me right now because I need help."
So hold my hand.
So the support of just being in there. Well, I'm glad that's helpful.
It's very helpful.
There is like one thing I do like that I will kind of continue talking with teachers about that I think is fun to talk about. It's like, okay, if you see like one or two students like that are just wiggly, and you can tell that they just kind of need to wiggle it out. It's like, okay, well, if I can't just tell these two students stand up and wiggle it out, right? So it's just kind of like, okay, class, together we're going to wiggle it out, instead of like pointing out the students doing that.
Great strategy.
That's a really
Call it
easy
the
strategy.
universal approach.
It really is.
Yes.
It's like, okay, if we see one or two, all of us are doing it.
Yeah.
I also think it's fun to put, like, if you notice, maybe let's say table 5 really liked painting the dolphins, and the dolphins are going to be up in the classroom, putting the dolphins next to table 5, and then giving them a little like comment of, hey, I noticed when you guys were doing the dolphins, you were really into it, and I saw you guys connecting, so I thought I would put them next to your table. So when you want to experience joy maybe throughout the day, you can look at the dolphin and remember how much fun you had.
I love
Reminder.
that.
Yeah, like,
Great.
But other than
Those
that,
are good tips.
Yeah, and to notice them getting along is, I mean, so often we're like, hey, use your words, be kind to one another, but it's to notice when they're doing things right and getting along so beautifully. That's
and then
lovely.
like they get to go, oh, my teacher saw us do that. That's so cool that they saw me. I mean,
I love that.
That connection piece just gets even stronger with something like that.
It does. It reinforces that kindness behavior that we're all striving for.
Yeah.
All right,
Should we
Christine.
move on to parent
yes,
tips?
parent tips. Yes. Do you want to?
Sure.
Shoot one
So,
off?
tips for parents supporting kids at home when they're having big feelings. Like, it's a pretty big question, because
It is a big question. I will say it's really dependent on the kid. A couple things, though, that I think that we kind of already talked about briefly. It's just as a parent and as the adult, providing the container for those big feelings. So are you in a place to provide that container? Or who is, right? Or is there like a partner in the house like that is more regulated that day than you? And like just being able to kind of like step in, step out of the situation if you need to. The power in the pause. I also love, obviously, validation, sitting with the child, again, just kind of being in the space and then letting them work through those big feelings. Kids oftentimes fear they're going to scare adults with their big feelings.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
So if they can just sit there and go like, buddy, that's tough, and work through it a little bit and go, okay, you really liked playing baseball yesterday. Do you want to go play catch? Like letting the child know that, yes, you had a hard moment and you can also have all of these other feelings in the same day. This is temporary. And normalizing how temporary a feeling can be is really, really helpful for a child.
Jenny, we've seen that, when parents just don't know what to do. Like, it
Yes.
seems like their kid is completely controlling the whole household, and
Yeah.
they just don't have the answers. Is that sort of that's what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just being able to kind of say, mommy and daddy have a bad day too. I mean, we all have feelings at times, and coming together, letting that person validating and then moving on.
Don't you think it's best to address it and not ignore? I think a lot of parents are they tiptoe around it because they don't know what to do. So instead of, saying something as simple as mommy and daddy are having big feelings, they won't say anything at all, or they'll just, try to make them feel okay,
Yeah, like make it better.
make it better.
And sometimes kids just have to feel sad. Sometimes kids just have to be angry. And I think that's kind of what I've learned over the time. Sometimes they just need to cry a little bit and just let them. They need to release that frustration or whatever their big emotion is, and not try to soothe it over. Because as parents, as friend to friend, we want to make it better, don't we? We've had those times where we're like, oh, I just want to say the right thing, but sometimes there is nothing you can say. You just sit beside them, pause, and be.
I think I love that you're asking that clarifying question. So that tiptoeing, that is going to invalidate. That tiptoeing is going to do the opposite of validation, because you're, in a way, indirectly telling your child or student, I am a little scared of these feelings you're having.
Ooh, good point.
Great
so
point.
don't tiptoe, lean in.
Lean in.
Lean in when you're ready. You can have a pause and then go
Absolutely. Lean in when you're ready.
Okay, good. I love it.
for it. So then working with parents also during, this is hard for me, difficult transitions like divorce or grief or moving or sibling changes. I mean, we as kindergarten teachers, I feel like we have a lot of books
Yes.
on our bookshelf that we sort of take out when some of these things are happening, and we do a universal teaching when it comes to that. But I would think that you get kids, in your office, or you meet with them to deal with these.
Yes. And they are big feelings, and they're feelings that sometimes these children or students are feeling for the first time. So it can be really confusing. So providing the container for them to explore what it means to feel grief, or what it means to be with a family as they're going through divorce, it can be a lot for them. And to then also kind of just manage the stressors of school, and then the socialization piece of how much they want to share with their friends, or how much they don't want to share with their friends, or should I tell my teachers, should I not? There's all these questions of what should I do? And so oftentimes I really just collaborate with them. Like, how can I support you through this? And let's explore what support looks like for you in this situation, because it looks vastly different for every student.
This comes up when I'm working with students and parents with these big transitions. When do you recommend therapy? When you're like, okay, this family's going through a divorce, should the kids automatically go to therapy, or is it personal? Is it just depends on the situation?
Great question.
So, what are some maybe some feelings or acting out or indicators that someone should possibly get some therapy?
So if it is impacting any facets of their life to a point of impairment, that's what we look at as like in therapy, right? The duration, intensity of a feeling and frequency.
Okay.
So as students may be coming in as drop-ins, those are things I'm watching.
Okay.
How often are we talking about a certain feeling? How intense is it? How long is it lasting? And what is it impairing?
Okay.
Are their grades slipping?
Is it showing up in the classroom? Right.
Are they withdrawing from friends?
Right.
So those are all facets that you're looking at while then determining if they need further support.
Okay. Excellent.
Is that helpful?
It is, because when we work with our families and there's big things going on, sometimes I've recommended, I'm like, have you considered therapy? And there's many times they've been kind of puzzled, like, really? I didn't even consider it. So it's just it's one that I've wrestled with myself. And I mean, I'm a big proponent of therapy and getting help and guidance. So I just was like, yeah, I think it's worth exploring. And I would say the vast majority have always come back and said, I'm so grateful. It's been so helpful.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I'm a big cheerleader for the.
No, and I'm always so proud of families who are able to seek it out or ask for help. I think it's hard to ask for help.
It is.
Can we move into heartwarming stories?
Yes, please. Let's do this.
So can you think of a time when a student really grew emotionally?
Yes. I think this student was in second grade at the time. And they were the cutest thing. So intelligent, so willing, so open, really courageous. And I remember we're sitting in a session and he had this epiphany of, wait, I don't need to believe every thought I'm having.
I love it.
And it was so beautiful because after that moment, he allowed space for all of these other feelings. Like he gave himself permission to be in the day, whatever that meant. And it was truly the best.
So wonderful.
I was so proud. I still am so proud of him.
Articulate that too.
Yes.
I love it.
It's like
Just
a light bulb went
little
off.
face. Yeah. Yes, it was just, it was the best.
Beautiful.
Can you think of a moment that gave you hope? I mean, that's a great story, but any others, a moment that gave you hope?
There's a lot of beautiful little moments, I think, throughout the day that give me hope. I think that's the beauty of working with kids. Like, it's such a privilege to witness their growth, and that's always so hopeful. Mm-hmm. I would say during one of, I had a client during my clinical internship at the time who was high risk, and, as a therapist, there's a gray area for some people with like accepting gifts, but typically the rule there is you don't accept gifts, right? And so this student knew that she couldn't give me a gift. So I get a call after I finished my clinical internship at the agency, and they said, "Hey, we have something for you. We want you to have it." And I said, "Okay, I'll come by." Well, she wrote a note to the agency just talking about her therapeutic journey and just how much better she was doing and how she appreciated therapy and how she never thought she would. So just receiving something like that and them allowing me to have something like that was something I'll never forget.
It's beautiful.
I think there's nothing more hopeful or incredible than the gift of a handwritten note. Right?
True.
I have a box.
I have a box.
I have a box.
And it makes you so emotional to see their little handwriting.
It comes from the heart, and you cannot buy it at a store, and you don't need stuff. It's just this, it's just so genuine.
So genuine.
So genuine.
Oh, I love that. Well, we're going to move into some quick questions. Are we ready for this, Christine?
Oh boy.
Are you ready, Dani?
Yeah, let's do it. We're
going to shoot them at you.
Okay.
So
Okay. I'll try to be quick.
Yeah.
Or not.
Question number 1. What's the first emotion word you teach kids?
Empathy. That one's easy.
That one's a good one. All right. What's your go-to grounding technique for anxious kids? Go-to grounding.
Okay, I'll try to make this quick. I have them close their eyes, and I walk them through a visualization exercise so that at any time, no matter where they are, they can close their eyes and put themselves in a safe space that makes them feel good. So they can do it in class, they can do it at home. But that's probably a go-to grounding exercise I use pretty often.
That's a great one for adults too.
It's great for anybody. Yeah,
right?
I love it.
You're good at this. Okay. Favorite tool or toy in your therapy room?
Magnets. Holy cow. I can't tell you. Adults have come and played with magnets in my office. All kids, all ages, they are a hit. They're like speck magnets.
Okay,
I don't know.
magnets.
They're
Are
amazing.
they like little discs? Or
Yeah, they
circles?
look like little geo-shaped things. They're a hit.
Oh, so you can sculpt it and do things and
Literally can make like a sphere, anything. Yeah, it's fun to watch everybody play with them.
All right. Big feelings. Name them or tame them first.
Oh, I think that depends on the age.
Yes.
Because they might not have the words for the feeling. So I'm going to go with like, let them get it out first and then talk about what it looked like and then have them find a word to name it.
Sounds good. I love it.
Most underrated calming strategy?
Ice.
Whoa.
Oh. Ice.
It's one of my favorite DBT like coping strategies, ice.
So do they hold it? Do they put it?
Yep, they can hold it. They can put it on the wrist, the back of the neck, anything. But if I know that it would help a student, I go and grab ice and they hold it nice. And like we talk through what it feels like in their hand. It gets them to reset. But yeah, it's the best.
Good idea. What is one phrase adults should stop saying to upset kids?
You're okay.
You're okay. You're
Calm
okay. Why are you crying? You don't need to be crying right now. You're 10. You're 10.
About.
You shouldn't be crying. That one gets me. Whatever. Insert age. You shouldn't be crying. I'm like, what do you mean? We all cry all the any age.
Okay, so don't tell someone to not cry. I mean, that's fair. I like that one.
What's a feeling you think adults struggle with more than kids do?
Uncomfortability.
Yeah, I get that. Being uncomfortable.
Being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good word, too, because it can get you out of a lot of situations. I feel really uncomfortable.
Wait, I love that.
All right. And our final quick question is, if you could invent a new emoji for big feelings, what would it look like?
This was really fun to think about. So we're thinking big feelings emoji. So I'm thinking like a face with like bulging eyes, but it's rotating. And every time it comes to the front, it's a different face in a different color. And it just like keeps going. That's what big feelings looks like to me.
It's true. Like a
It's like red face and my tongue sticking out. And then like blue face and I'm looking like, what the heck do I do now? And just keeps going.
I love it.
It's a great one.
There you go.
Dani, it's been such a pleasure having you here. This has been so fun.
Yeah, we work with you, we know you, but to hear kind of your inner workings and your work with one-on-one students, because we're always so busy in the classroom, we don't get to have these conversations. In fact, our offices are right around, our classroom and your office are right around the corner from each other.
I know.
And yet we hardly see each other. So it's so fun to sit down today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. And I just love you both so much. I'm so glad you're doing this because you have so much to offer everybody listening. So Thank you.
Thank you, Dani.
So, Christine, let's recap what we learned so much from Dani Fee. What are some of the big little lessons that you learned?
I really learned a lot today. Definitely the pause. I mean,
yes.
that was genius.
Yes.
Because you have to remind yourself that that's such an important thing. And, the story you shared about when students are in a heated moment, don't just jump in and offer a solution, really just pause. So,
yes.
So, the big little lesson is to pause, when you think you should, if you don't have the right words, right? Pause till you can think about what the answer is.
It's kind of goes along with being uncomfortable, but also sitting in some silence. That's when all else fails, just be silent and give a beat. Don't have to fill the room with answers.
It works for everyone,
yeah.
Whether you're 5 or 105,
right?
That's right.
And I also think, just those little calming strategies, like the ice. It's so true. I mean, ice it's so fantastic. I'm gonna use that the next time I'm anxious. So thank you.
Of course.
All right. So lots to process today, but for our listeners out there, I'm hoping that you're walking away with some new tools and have just a deeper sense of empathy for the people in your life.
Thank you so much for listening to Big Little Lessons. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe.
All right, so until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep creating space for those big little feelings.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.